What is good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to Knicks Media. This is Richie, and in this video, I want to talk about this entire New York Knicks situation with the Knicks missing out on Donovan Mitchell and get into negotiations based on, was it a good or bad thing that the New York Knicks basically missed out on getting Donovan Mitchell to the New York Knicks? This has been a process that's been dragged on for a little too long. As you guys know, I cover this a lot on Knicks Media on this YouTube channel, so yesterday we were live for an hour to give you guys my reaction to it, but now it's a day afterwards, and we got a really good understanding of what type of trade packages the Knicks were offering the Utah Jazz, what the Utah Jazz wanted from the New York Knicks, what the Knicks declined, what they even offered in the first place all the way into July, according to Woj out of ESPN. So there's a lot of things to dissect in this video, but I will say it is refreshing that this saga is over, because I'm excited to finally start talking about the actual New York Knicks roster and get into the season and get hyped for training camp and preseason and the NBA season, of course. So it does feel refreshing that we finally know the state of the Donovan Mitchell situation, that he's now in the Cavaliers. He's not coming to the Knicks. So in this video, I want to give you guys my overall thoughts and my overall take on, is this a positive or a negative thing that Donovan Mitchell ends up in Cleveland instead of the New York Knicks? Of course, comment down below your thoughts of this. Where do you stand on the conversation? Because I know a lot of Knicks fans are on both sides of the spectrum on this one. Some people think that it is a good thing, a blessing in disguise, that the Knicks did not give up what the Utah Jazz was asking. On the other side, some Knicks fans are upset, and they feel like we missed a golden opportunity to acquire a star for this Knicks team in Donovan Mitchell. So please comment down below your thoughts of where you land on that side of the spectrum when it comes to wanting Donovan or not wanting. So before we hop into it, I just want to mention, if you guys are new to Knicks Media, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of Knicks content coming your way, leading all the way up until training camp, and I'm really excited to dive deep into this season. And of course, hit that thumbs up button if you guys enjoy the video. And of course, like I said previously, comment down below your thoughts. With that being said, let's get into my thoughts of this whole situation. So we have this tweet here from Evan, who was referencing Shams' report. We broke this down in yesterday's stream, but apparently the Jazz's final counter offer to the Knicks was RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, another young player, 3 unprotected picks, and multiple pick swaps, and the New York Knicks declined. We found out from Woj that apparently the New York Knicks in July, they offered RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Mitchell Robinson before they extended him, and 3 unprotected picks, and the Jazz declined. Now, it is kind of mind-boggling to me that the Knicks were that aggressive and they were giving the Jazz that type of offer, and Danny Ainge still didn't accept it. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm being straight up. I don't know if I would have been happy if the Knicks pulled off that trade by giving up RJ Barrett and Quickley and Robinson and 3 unprotected first-round picks. That is a little too much in my liking for Donovan Mitchell. You guys know how much I wanted Donovan Mitchell. I've always said it for 2 months straight that I want Donovan Mitchell to the Knicks. But I also said, if RJ Barrett has to be involved in the deal, I do not want to get Donovan Mitchell. And now some people are like, Richie, why would you not want Donovan Mitchell? RJ Barrett is definitely not better than Donovan. Donovan's the better player. That's obvious. I am not saying that I think RJ's better than Donovan Mitchell. But at the end of the day, the whole goal of this, at least in my perspective, doesn't seem like it was from the Knicks front office perspective, was you trade for a guy like Donovan Mitchell so you can pair him up with a young ascending homegrown star in RJ Barrett instead of giving him up. Now, this does tell me that the Knicks front office really looks at Quentin Grimes as a big piece to this Knicks franchise, because that felt like the only guy on this Knicks team that was untouchable in every single trade package. Now, the one thing I'll say to that is he better start this year. I don't want to see Evan Fournier starting over Quentin Grimes. If you really think that highly of Quentin Grimes, that man should be starting next to Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett. But getting back to what this whole trade negotiations were and how it fell through, it kind of mind boggles me that the Knicks were offering RJ, because I genuinely felt like if RJ has to be included in the deal, you don't do it. Because RJ Barrett is a representation of the first time this Knicks franchise in so long has drafted somebody and is developing them into our homegrown guy that Knicks fans really want to root for, because he's so easy to root for. RJ Barrett has every single quality you want in the face of the franchise in terms of being able to handle the media, constantly working. You can tell that he is just mentally tough. He has that New York energy to him. He has that toughness, that factor, that demeanor, that grittiness that you can tell that he's going to put in the work every single offseason to get better and better. And he is going to become a better player in year number 4. You're going to see that that improvement. We saw from year 1 to year 2. We saw that from year 2 to year 3. Now, obviously, RJ Barrett has a lot of things to still work on in terms of efficiency and finishing at the rim and, all those things that RJ Barrett is in the lab all offseason doing. But I just did not want to give up RJ Barrett for Donovan Mitchell, especially if you have to include Quickly and another young player and 3 unprotected first-round picks. The Knicks tried to get Donovan Mitchell by just including RJ in 2 picks, and the Jazz declined that. And also, which I think this is interesting, on Monday night, the Knicks gave the Jazz a deadline, and if you do not accept this offer, which was RJ and 2 first-round picks, the Knicks will extend RJ Barrett to make the deal a little more complicated. The New York Knicks go ahead. They extend RJ Barrett on that $107 million contract that could be worth up to $120 million with incentives. And then a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers, their general manager, they saw that. The next morning on Tuesday, they called the Utah Jazz and they said, hey, we want Donovan Mitchell. If the Knicks are out of the conversation, let's go. We want him. And then the Jazz offered what they offered. And then the Utah Jazz, they did not allow the Knicks to top that offer. The Jazz did not call Leon Rose in the Knicks front office and say, listen, we have this offer from the Cavaliers, and we've been talking with you guys for 2 months. So are you going to top this offer? We'll give you an opportunity to top this or match it. They didn't even do that out of spite. Now, I'm kind of satisfied they didn't do that because I have a feeling if they went back to the Knicks, then the Knicks potentially could have went up a little bit and included RJ and Quickly and maybe a guy like Obi or who knows the other third young player that was rumored to be involved in the trade. So, honestly, guys, I genuinely believe this is a blessing in disguise the more I really read into it because I just don't think that Donovan Mitchell is a player that is worth giving up our entire, young team, including RJ Barrett. The only way I was down to get Donovan Mitchell, because you guys know I was all in except for trading RJ. If we got away with trading a couple of the young players, like 1 or 2 out of like Grimes, Obi, Quickly, Reddish, and Deuce McBride, like those type of guys. Not all 5 of them. I'm not saying package all 5 of them, but say 2 out of those 5, plus Fournier, plus a lot of draft picks, and give them all the picks. That's how I wanted to get Donovan Mitchell. And I love the young players on this team. I love Grimes. I love Obi. I love Quickly. It would have sucked to give those guys up to get Donovan Mitchell. But I think Donovan Mitchell is that much of a game wrecker where it would be worth it. But not for RJ Barrett, because RJ Barrett represents the potential star that the Knicks have drafted and developed, and that's what this team needs to be all about. We need to stay to the roster and stick to the process. And I give the Knicks a lot of credit. I know some people are upset with the Knicks, but I give them credit personally because they easily could have went up to the asking price. They could have done what previous Knicks regimes would have done and just blown up this young team that we have, blown up all the picks. We have Donovan Mitchell on the roster with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. And then the bench is not as deep. We don't have a lot of draft capital for the future to make another move. We don't have a lot of cap space. We might be a good team this year with Donovan Mitchell and Brunson, no RJ Barrett and Randall and Mitchell Robinson, maybe competing for a playoff spot in the play-in, or maybe we can get the 6th or 5th seed. You never know. And then a couple years from now, when Donovan Mitchell's here with Brunson, and we don't really have a young guy in the team, other than we probably would have kept Grimes in that scenario, but there's no draft picks to help build into the draft. There's no assets to trade for another star, and that is the reason why the New York Knicks did not pull the trigger, because they did not want to acquire Donovan Mitchell and then just be like, good. They want to acquire Donovan Mitchell and build a championship contender, and they felt like acquiring Donovan Mitchell for that asking price is a little too much to be able to become a championship contender down the line, because newsflash, that's what this is all about. We want to win championships, and I understand people are going to be like, well, Richie, the way you win championships in this league is how? By stars, and Donovan Mitchell is that star, and I hear you guys, but I'm going to stick to my belief from the start of this whole process of if Donovan Mitchell had to come to the Knicks and we had to sacrifice RJ Barrett, I'm just not doing it. And if you guys agree with me, that's great. If you don't, I understand. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I'm not here to just try to, tell you guys how you should feel. You have every single right to feel how you feel. That's why there's a comment section for you to voice your opinions, because I love getting into conversations, open thoughts about the New York Knicks and what happened. So I had to make this video because it's the day after this trade happened, and my overall thoughts about all the latest news and the reports that we're seeing coming out of the New York Knicks and not getting Donovan Mitchell. We're running into the season, it seems like, with Jalen Brunson, Fournier, RJ, Randall, and Mitch Maybe Grimes gets that starting lineup. I would way prefer Grimes to start over Fournier. Off the bench, we got D Rose, Quickly, Obi, Reddish, Hartenstein. This is a young team, a really fun team to watch this year, and the only way we're really going to be making noise is if these young players really step up and prove to be more than just role guys. Quentin Grimes got to prove to be more than a role guy. Emmanuel Quickly and Obi Toppin got to take that next step, and RJ Barrett has to take that next step, and Julius Randle's got to get his stuff together. I know that a lot of Knicks fans want him gone, but if he's on the team, he's got to get his act together if we want to be competitive, and of course, Jalen Brunson needs to prove to be the guy that we gave that big contract for, that he's worth it, and Mitchell Robinson as well. Don't get it twisted. This Knicks team's still going to be fun to watch this year. They're just not going to be, competing all in and be that Eastern Conference contender that we were hopeful for going into the season. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Like the video if you guys enjoy. Greatly appreciate you guys staying tuned to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. Let's go Knicks. Peace out.